Hello, in this video I'm going to list off the 7 apps I use to run my life. And then at the end I'll rapid fire a bunch more that I use for more specific things like making these productivity and organization videos. Welcome to the channel, by the way. Very nice to meet you or see you again. Also apps for photography, managing my video library, writing software, etc. I've worked in productivity software for 15 years. First at Adobe and then founding my own company. So I pay a lot of attention to what's popular and trying out new things when they come out. But this list are all the productivity tools I actually use every day or close to every day. I'm going to start with my task management app, Simply Goals and Tasks. Yes, this is my app, literally the app made by my company. And no, nothing else on this list is going to be a plug for something that I've made or a sponsor or anything like that. I wanted to put this one first because, number one, I think task management is the most important productivity tool you have. And two, to either add some more credibility to who I am or get the cringy self-promotional stuff out of the way, depending on how you see it. But anyway, task management, this is where I plan out big projects, break them down into individual tasks, schedule out my year, month, week, and day. And it's also how I know how busy I am. So I know how much I really need to focus or how much wiggle room I have to say yes to new fun things. Okay, let's move on to number 2, a classic Google Calendar. Tasks and events are different, sort of, they have a lot in common, but I like to keep my events in Google Calendar and my tasks in Simply Goals and Tasks. One of the features I use the most in GCal is shared calendars. I share my work calendar with my personal account so I can see it all together in different colors. And I have a shared calendar with my partner so we can see each other's appointments that we want the other one to be aware of. And it's also really easy to turn these on and off. You can pick which calendars you want the phone app to sync with. And even within there, or both desktop and on your phone, you can kind of turn them off so you can see them all or have them away if they're distracting. Okay, number 3 is Keep. And yes, I am a bit of a Google fangirl. I think any note-taking app can really fill this job. This is the digital equivalent of scrap paper for me. If I'm suddenly inspired with like a video idea on the train, I can like draft it out in Google Keep and then later on at my computer, just copy and paste it over to the right place. Some of the cooler like document apps get a little buggy when going from offline to online or mobile to desktop, but I never run into that with Keep, which is why it is my go-to app for this purpose, taking quick notes on the go. Okay, number 4 is the productivity app of the moment, Notion. Everyone is talking about Notion, and I admit I like it too. I could make a whole video about Notion and probably will at some point. Leave a comment down below if you would be interested in that, and I will make it more of a priority to feel that demand. But really high level, you will have like a table of contents sidebar on the left with a tree structure of all the pages, as many pages as you want. But what I really like about Notion are the databases and the database views. So for example, I have a database with all of my video ideas. And in the main view, I have like everything in a giant table. But then I also have a Kanban view of the same data where each of the columns is a different category of content like productivity explainer, productivity vlog, organization, all the content types that I make. And I use this space to kind of organize those ideas, pick out my favorites, and which ones I'm gonna do next. And then I have another page called production. And here I have another database view of the same data, video ideas, but here the rows in the Kanban board, the columns in the Kanban board are status. So it starts off with writing and then footage is ready and editing and so forth, and I can kind of move my videos along the production process. There's a lot of other stuff built into Notion. For example, they even have their built-in AI. But the database and the database views are really the key to what makes it valuable to me. Okay, next at number 5, I'm sorry, it's another Google one, Google Drive. Specifically, I really like the app for my MacBook. It makes Google Drive look like an external hard drive plugged into my Mac. And then it's really easy both to access things on Drive or to save things there. And that's what I try to do. Any files that I want filed away, I don't want them on my local computer. I want them on Google Drive so they're safe in case anything ever happened to my laptop. The only files I really keep on my local computer are media files that I'm still working with. For example, like video footage that needs to be edited or a photo shoot I'm still processing. And it's like a bonus app, maybe like 5.5, I'm gonna go with Google Docs. So Google Drive is like the file system, the virtual cloud-based like hard drive. You can have any kind of file on it. And Google Docs is the like cloud-based version of Microsoft Word. I think a lot of people kind of confuse these two, but Google considers them very separate products. Anyway, I love to make crazy long Google Docs. If you use the header style formats, when you're in Docs, it'll make a table of contents for you. And then you can link from the table of contents jumping around that document really easily. I make a giant Google Doc like that for pretty much any project. Like right now I'm planning a Disney trip for the summer, and I have sections for each like stage of planning, like hotels and stuff. I also have one for things I want to do in each park, and stuff I want to bring to the parks and stuff I want to pack for the trip, anything imaginable. And I can have it all in one document and able to really just move between it all or search very easily. Okay, next on my list is ZenKit. If you don't know what ZenKit is, it's basically what Trello should be. If you don't know Trello is the app that made Kanban boards really popular. Kanban boards are like where you have the different columns and then kind of like cards that move between the columns. So anyway, in ZenKit, you can have your data and you can view it as a Kanban board or a table or a calendar or even a mind map. And then you can pick like how you see the data in each of those formats. Like if it's a calendar, you can see them by the deadline or you can see them by the start date. If it's a Kanban board, you could have the columns be the status or the priority or any attribute of that data. You can kind of shuffle the data by that attribute and view it in all different ways. This is very similar to what I was talking about with Notion databases and having the different database views. The biggest difference here is, for one, I've been using ZenKit longer, and I think it's easier to use the Notion database views. With ZenKit, you're really just kind of almost like little filters, changing how you're viewing the same stuff. With the Notion database views, you are like creating that view and you have to like set it up, which is, I think, a little bit harder. And the other difference is in Notion, everything's a page. So like the view is just part of the page and you can have more information underneath the view in the same page, which can be nice. Like for my video stuff I was talking about, like I have more info on the bottom of the page. But sometimes you just want things simple. Sometimes you just want like the data view, and sometimes simpler is better. So ZenKit is also a tool I use all the time. Okay, I got a strong one for number 7, ChatGPT. I pay for it. I found that I could never actually get on the free version. It was always over capacity. I use it for research, like a research assistant intern. These are never ready to use, but they're pretty good and they help a lot. I also ask it to do calculations for me. Obviously, it's really good at that. And I was late to this, but I've also started using it for writing software. In my opinion, the hardest part about writing software is picking which tools you're going to use and then figuring out how you're going to like connect that to your existing software ecosystem. So just recently I asked GPT, for some ideas about a feature I had in mind, and it gave me really good answers about the options of software I could use, and even outlined out a draft of the code I would need to connect it to the servers that I use. It's actually kind of silly, like that could have easily been a week's worth of research for me, and I really made all the decisions that I needed to make with like 30 minutes of chatting with ChatGPT. Of course, there's still a lot of work to do. AI is just a tool. It's not going to do all the work for you, at least it doesn't seem that way to me, but it does make things easier. Okay, for this last part, I'm going to list off rapid fire a bunch of different tools that I use for specific things. For my photography, I use Adobe Lightroom for editing, and Google Photos for getting the pictures on my phone, and also for sharing entire albums with like my mom or my best friend. When I do a full photo shoot, which can be like a trip or like an actual photo shoot I do with my kids, then I have another Kanban board where each column are the different steps of the post-processing setup. For making videos, I use Premiere Pro. For my first year of making YouTube videos, I used Premiere Rush, which was way easier to get started with. And then when I started to feel ready and think I wanted a couple more features, then I transitioned to Premiere Pro, and it was actually like a really easy transition that instead of feeling so overwhelming like it did at first, it just felt like having more features. Bonus, paying for Premiere Pro also gives me access to Adobe Express, which is basically the exact same thing as Canva, but I actually like a little more, and that's what I use for my thumbnails or for any quick graphics that I need. For writing software, I'm an Android dev, so I use Android Studio and GitHub for version control. For managing my movie library, I use Plex, and I run that on like a cheap little mini Windows PC. Actually, it's in this drawer right here. It doesn't even have a monitor or a keyboard. I access it all the time through Chrome Remote Desktop. I also use that little guy to run some scripts or do other things that like need a Windows computer. And then I just always access it through Chrome Remote Desktop, either on my computer, or it works really good on my phone too. For consuming things, I use Spotify for music, Audible for audiobooks, and Pocket Casts for podcasts. I do actually have a podcast, by the way. It's just me and my best friend talking, and you are welcome to join us. If you don't have a lot of girlfriends in your life right now, we've all been there. And it's called the Mediocre Moms Podcast. For chat messages, I use all the things. I use WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, regular SMS or email, whatever Google's like current chat platform of the moment is. And Discord and Slack, all the things. And yes, I do hate having so many. But if I want to reach people, ask for their attention, their time, their friendship, Least I can do is meet them where they are, virtually speaking. Okay, so please don't hack me now that you know every software application that I use. I imagine you already heard of most of those, but I hope you still found it valuable. Just to see how they all fit together for me, I'm certainly not the only person in tech who's in productivity now and has made a list like this. But I know I really do find value in hearing like which tools people use and how they use them. It's a lot easier than trying things out yourself. If you'd like to see more of my Task Manager app, it's free. Virtually all of the features are free. There is a premium version you can subscribe to, but that's really just aimed at super users. So you can do everything you would need to do, even like run your whole life out of it with the free version, no problem. I'll put the link to Google Play below so you can just try it out, but it might actually be easier to just go to my company website, which is simply.digital, that's .digital, not .com, and just get the link right from there. And I'll also put like an app walkthrough video here on screen, so if you'd rather, I can just show it to you. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Hug, and I'll see you in another video. Ciao.